Hello, my name is Tyra.
Nice meeting you, Tyra.
Nice to meet you. If you haven't watched any of our other videos, I am a current MPhil student at Cambridge. I'm doing the MPhil in Education, Knowledge, Power and Politics. I also did my undergraduate degree here at Cambridge. I did Education, Policy and International Development. And today I'm talking to Ebenezer. So Ebenezer, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, Tyra. Nice meeting you. I'm Ebenezer, and I did a PhD in Cambridge in 2015. I was there in 2015 and completed in 2019 and returned to Ghana in 2020. And I started working as a plant virologist at the Cocoa Research Institute of Ghana from 2021 February. And this is where I am now.
Thank you so much. So could you talk to me a little bit about your background, where you went to university and how you ended up at the job that you're at now?
Okay, so my mom was a medical assistant. She's on pension now, so she was usually transferred to villages and stuff. So I did my basic education in like the rural areas of Ghana. And when I was in junior high school, usually we write our junior high leaving exams in third year. But when I was in the second year, they just recommended that I write with the final year students. And I think when I wrote, I did well. So I never went back to the third year. I went to high school. So they offered me general arts. But on the day that I was reporting, I went with my sister and my mom. And my sister, out of nowhere, just suggested that they should rather make me do science instead of the general arts. So I became a science student, although I was going as an art student. So I was in the science class, and I think one day I was late for English class, and the English madam has said that if you are late and if she enters the class before you, you are not allowed to enter. So I decided to actually go and spend some time with the agric class, the agric student. And then I realized this is where actually my soul belongs. So I never went to the science class again. So that's how I became an agric student. So from high school, I went to do general agric at the University of Cape Coast, Ghana. And then I went to do my master's in nuclear agriculture at the University of Ghana. And then I came to Cambridge in 2015 to do a PhD in plant sciences, which is also agric related. And then I came to work here at Cocoa Research Institute of Ghana, where we research on cocoa and other crops like cashew, cola, shea, and other trees as well. So that's how I became an agric student, although I was supposed to be an art student. So that's how it happened. Yeah.
Yeah, so what is it that you do in your job? To kind of talk us through sort of a general day at work. What does it look like for you?
So usually it's more like a PhD, like how a PhD is formatted. You start with a proposal. You have a topic that you want to work on. So you write a proposal, and then instead of looking for funds elsewhere, they will sponsor you. The organization will sponsor you. So if they accept your proposal, they sponsor your proposal. So you get the money to buy the equipment and the reagents that you need for your work. Then most of the work, so there are technicians here. In a PhD, you actually do your own like work. You do everything by yourself. But for here, they have technicians that are there to help you. So you sit them down, you write down a protocol and what you want to be done. And then you sit them down and you all discuss, this is what I want to do, this is what so they help you with your experiment. And then you take data. Mostly they help you in taking the data. And then you get your results, you analyze it, and then you present. So that's what we do here. Once you are done with it, you write on that proposal, and then you start the experiment again. And then you get your results, you publish it, you start again. So that's basically it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So how is it that you decided that you wanted to go work with this particular firm that you're working with now?
So actually I've been here before I even came to Cambridge to do my PhD. I came here to do some lab work. And I think the place is very cool and serene and quiet. And I really like quiet places. So somehow my heart was here. So when I was about to complete my PhD, my head of department at the University of Ghana actually sent me an email that one of my supervisors, who is actually the former director of this place, said they are about to recruit. So if I'm interested, I could apply. So when I was in Cambridge, I applied to here. And when I came in Ghana 2020, I came for interview and I started working in 2021. So that's how come I came here.
Yeah, so it sounds like connections were really important for you.
Yes, but I don't really know if he was really into it, but he just told me that they are going to recruit. He's a former director, yeah. But connections are very important, yeah.
Yeah, because I know
Yeah,
that's something that a lot
yeah,
of students are anxious about, something that a lot of students aren't really sure about. They're not
yeah,
really sure about how to make connections with people, how to find a
yeah.
network. So do you have any advice on how to create a network?
I am very quiet, and so I don't create network. I'm mostly I'm mostly in my room, or maybe I'm in the lab working on my on my plant. So the network, so the people I know are my supervisors, my lecturers. They are the people I know, and somehow they really like me, so they just get in touch with me. But socializing, going for formals and stuff, I'm not so good in it, so I don't really have a good advice. But I would say that just try and do it, because like these are some of the avenues that you get opportunities. So
Mm.
even if you are shy as me, just do your best and just put yourself there. Meet the people. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yesterday, maybe this is just an off topic, but I wanted to emphasize how connections really work. Yesterday, I went to town and my phone was off, and I really needed money, so I had to get my phone on so that I could transfer money into my account where I could use my ATM to take. And so there's a special place that they sell kebab. So I went there and a guy met me and he said they don't have a charger for my phone, so he couldn't charge it for me. But there's a guy who knows that I come there to buy kebab. Although they didn't have the charger, he stopped whatever he was doing and went to look for a charger for me. So it's like, because I knew him, he had to do all these things for me. So it's good to know people. To make them do things that they are not even willing to do. So.
Mm. Yeah, and I think definitely it's really important to kind of have those relationships, even the ones that you may not think may be important.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
never know.
yeah.
Um,
You never know. Yes.
yeah. So one thing that you mentioned that I hope that you can elaborate on is that the workplace that you're working at, you're at the Cocoa Institute Research of Ghana, and
Yes.
it's a very calm, serene workplace. And how did you decide that that kind of workspace is appropriate for you? How did you realize that that aligned with you as a person?
So I studied plant virology in Cambridge, like plant pathology, and they have the virology here is very established. So this institute was established by the British in 1938. So in 1936, a new disease was actually found on cocoa in Ghana. Cocoa it doesn't come from Ghana. It was brought from somewhere. So they brought it in Ghana around 1876 thereabout. But later on, they realized that the trees are dying and like the fruits are not really coming up. So they realized that actually a disease has occurred. And so the British established this place in 1938 to find the cause of the disease that is killing the cocoa trees. So in 1940, they found that it's actually caused by a virus. So virology is very strong here. So, and since I did virology in Cambridge, and also some part of my master's was on virology, I had to come here because this is where virology is when you come to Ghana.
Mm.
So the British, they have bungalows and they really made it a place for their researchers to enjoy. So when you come here, you realize that it's different from the other parts of the town. Everything is like high class somehow. Yeah.
So, in regards to turning your passion into a career, did you ever have anyone telling you that your career isn't something that you should be passionate about? Because I feel like what happens a lot at Cambridge is a lot of people say, I need to chase the money. And
Yes.
for some people, unfortunately, that means that they abandon the things that they enjoy and they abandon the things
Yes.
that they're passionate
I
about.
remember I remember when I moved, so I was doing science. I was actually supposed to do general arts in high school, but my sister told them to make me do science, so I was doing science. But when I saw the agric student, I realized this is where I was supposed to be, so I went to agric class. So when one of my sisters heard that I've actually moved to the agric class, he called me. She called me and she was saying that, do you want to become an extension officer? Like you will be in the villages and like because she knew that agric won't lead me anywhere. But my mom, like that's what I really love, because I grew up in a village and I saw people farming and stuff. So I thought this is what I should do. But my sister thought maybe this is not like classy. You don't have to end up like an extension officer and stuff. But I really loved it, so I just continue with it. And yeah.
So do you have any advice for somebody who may be now in a position that they're kind of choosing between pursuing their passion and pursuing something that's a bit more practical, for lack of a better term? How did you manage to sort of stick strong to what you enjoyed?
I think it's your passion, like, that will push you through when you are whatever you are pursuing becomes difficult. Like in Cambridge, things can be very stressful, and if you don't really, your heart is not into it, you can easily stop. So pursuing your passion makes it easy to push through even when it's hard. And if you really love something, the money comes naturally because everyone realizes that, oh, you are so good in this. Yeah. So as for the money, you don't really have to follow it all, but the passion is very important because it's going to stick with you for the rest of your life. So, yeah.
And there may also be some students who are now choosing between pursuing employment after they finish their degrees or going on to further studies such as a master's or a PhD. Yeah. So do you have any advice, or do you have a story about how you decided to do further study?
Okay. So when I finished my first degree, I really wanted to further my education. So I went to do my master's. But after my master's, I think Ghana had gone for a loan from IMF or somewhere, International Monetary Fund, and I think they said Ghana shouldn't employ anyone anymore. So it was very difficult, yeah, because maybe all our money was going to paying people's salary. And the IMF was saying that there should be a ban on employment, new employment. So unless someone actually went on maybe pension, that they will replace them. So it was quite difficult to actually get a job when I finished my master's. So I was applying for a job and I was also applying for a PhD. So I think the PhD came earlier. So like it came faster compared to the job. So that's how I did my PhD. And I think it was very good. It was a good choice then.
Mm. And so that's a really big obstacle, having the IMF say, Ghana, do not employ anyone new.
Yes.
So were there any other obstacles or unexpected things that have happened on your career journey? They can be good and bad. They don't need to be bad, but unexpected.
I think, I don't know, but sorry. I think that someone wanted to open. I don't think I've really had any obstacles. Things have been quite okay. But just that when I was about finishing my PhD, I realized that not everyone is treated equally. Like some students have to really suffer more than others. Yeah, but I'm okay with it now. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one thing that we really wanted to highlight in this series, is that for Black students, there is a whole load of extra pressures when it comes to going into employment and even choosing to do further study. So what advice would you have for Black students specifically in choosing careers and pursuing their passions when racism and institutional bias and all of this stuff?
Yeah. Yes, I think when it comes to racism, you shouldn't suffer silently. Whatever you think it's not right, you should report it.
So in planning your career and pursuing your career, is there anything that you wish you would have done differently, or anything that looking back you probably would have had a longer think about?
I don't think I would have done anything differently in choosing the career that I chose, like agriculture. I really love it. I really love to see plants grow. And in my work, I see plants growing every day, and it gives me so much joy. But I think all my life I've lived in Ghana, and I think when I moved out, things were okay. But then I realized that sometimes people really don't think that you deserve some stuff. So when you behave as though you also deserve it, like you become targeted, and like you're not treated like in the right way. And in that instance, how you choose to react is very important. You should be very calm, and you should be composed, and maybe take it like the right, instead of maybe getting angry and stuff. Because when you get angry, it's like an angry Black man. Like it's yes. Even when you really have to be angry because this is not right. Well, yeah, that is it. So.
So Do you have any ideas of what you would like to do next in your career? What does the next, let's say, is 10 years too much? The next 10?
Yes, next 10 years. So I
Yeah,
think
next 10 years.
Cocoa-Solin virus was actually identified in Ghana in 1940, but we haven't really done anything about it. We know that the disease is caused by a virus, but up to now we haven't really done anything. When the plants get infected, we go to the field and we cut down the infected trees, just as we were doing in 1940. So nothing has really been done. So I really want to study the virus and see what I could. Because when you cut people's cocoa trees, the farmers actually get annoyed because, but that's the only way. If you don't cut it, like the millibars that transmit the virus from one tree to the other will transmit it and more trees will be infected. So you just have to cut down the infected trees. But the farmers don't really understand why their trees should be cut down. So I think if we find a better solution to the virus, people will be happy, the farmers will be happy, and the scientists too would have will also be happy, I think. So in the next 10 years, I want to really, maybe in the next 5 years, I want to focus on the virus and see how we can mitigate it so that everyone will be happy, the farmers and the scientists.
So for anyone watching who wants to go into research as a career, what you just said may be really interesting because it's new and it's innovative and you're proposing a project and you're really spearheading it. So what advice would you have for people to be bold and present their ideas and be confident in the ideas that they're putting forward, with the realistic element of not every idea that you put forward is going to be accepted? So what kind of tips would you have for anyone with their confidence when it comes to proposing ideas and really being, no, I was about to say authoritative, but that's not the word, assertive in the workplace?
You should always be like, you have connections, like maybe you have an idea and someone is actually saying that, no, this one can be done. And maybe another colleague, which is of maybe a higher, maybe like status in that society. And he can influence the person who is saying that you can't do this. And maybe he talks to the person, this person has this idea, but he's saying that you said he can't pursue it. Like he could actually talk on your behalf. And sometimes you could also be assertive and just tell the person that this is actually what I want to do and I want to pursue it. Although sometimes it doesn't really lead anywhere because they might think you are the problem because maybe you can't, people actually determine what you are capable of. So when they think that you are doing something out of your range of possibility, they try to push you down. And when you try to tell them that you can actually do this, you become a problem and they try to crush you down. And I think in such instances, knowing people who can actually, you can rely on to advise you on what to do in this instance will help. I don't know if I've answered it well, but I don't know. Did I?
Yeah, I think that's a really good answer. Like, pull on the people around you, find your advisors.
Yeah, because sometimes when you are alone, it's quite difficult when you really want to push something through and you are alone and like people just brush you off. But when you actually know people, like they can give you the better advice on what to do at that particular instance when you don't have any voice. Because sometimes you really want to do something, but you don't have the voice to. And the people around you are actually not on your side. So what do you do? Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And we've got 2 more questions. So they're both about advice. The first question is, what advice would you give to current students who are now thinking about careers, about how they should get started, how they should look for places, how they should look at roles that they could do, how they can look for companies, things like that? Do you have anything? Because I think
Cambridge Career Service has this career fairs and stuff. I think it's really helpful. Yeah. And it's helpful. And aside that, knowing your people, like maybe attending like other career fairs, or maybe I'm getting a little bit nervous, but I'll push through. Don't worry. Actually, going for internships. Maybe if you really have maybe you really want to work in a particular place, before you even complete, you could actually apply to work there as an intern, and you get to know the people in that organization, and it will help you to maybe in the future get away because you have already established that connection. So maybe internships whilst you are still a student and stuff like that.
Thank you. And then for the final question, I want to ask, what advice would you give to your younger self? So I will ask for 3 different stages of your life.
Okay.
So first of all, what advice would you have given yourself when you first finished your undergraduate degree? Secondly, what advice would you have given yourself just when you finished your master's degree? And then thirdly, what advice would you have given yourself when you were a PhD student?
So when I finished my first degree, I wanted to further my education. So the advice was to find the right program to pursue. So that was it. And after my master's, I really wanted to work or to go back to school, and I wanted to go to the best school, but the best school is one of the best schools. So I was actually looking for schools of high caliber and stuff. So that's why I applied to Cambridge and stuff. So after my PhD, I have advised myself to always remain calm. It doesn't matter how people might brush you off and treat you. You just always remain calm and take it like live as life comes. Yeah, you might not be able to let everyone respect you or stuff, but as long as you respect yourself, you can go through life. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, that's all of the questions I have. So thank you so much for this.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's been really interesting.